From the PEP Radio Newsroom, this is the Hourly News Blast. Advocate is reporting, after years of escalating anti-LGBTQ plus rhetoric in American politics, a new national report suggests that the consequences are no longer confined to campaign ads, legislative fights, or online outrage. For many LGBTQ plus candidates, the threats have become intensely personal and increasingly physical. The threats arrive in direct messages, voicemail inboxes, comment sections, and late-night emails. Sometimes they follow candidates home. One LGBTQ plus candidate reported that a neighbor shot at their house after they advocated for transgender rights. Another described being shoved off a porch while canvassing. Others said strangers photographed their homes, stalked their families online, or threatened sexual violence against their children. For a growing number of LGBTQ plus candidates across the United States, political campaigning resembles threat management. A new report released by the LGBTQ plus Victory Institute found that harassment, intimidation, and political violence have become a defining feature of modern LGBTQ plus campaigns, reshaping not only how candidates run for office, but also whether they choose to run at all. The authors of Threats on the Trail, Experiences with Political Violence Among LGBTQ plus Candidates in the United States showed 215 LGBTQ plus candidates who ran for office between 2023 and 2025 across 42 states, Puerto Rico, and Washington, D.C. And researchers found nearly 9 in 10 candidates worried that running as out LGBTQ plus people would increase their risk of harassment or attack, while 4 in 5 feared physical violence. Those fears were often realized. Nearly 2/3 of respondents experienced in-person harassment during campaigns. Almost 8 in 10 encountered online abuse, and 1 in 3 candidates reported receiving online death threats. Political violence has increasingly become a feature of American public life, touching judges, lawmakers, election workers, journalists, and candidates across the political spectrum. But LGBTQ plus advocates say queer and transgender candidates are increasingly absorbing a uniquely personal form of hostility, one fueled by years of escalating anti-LGBTQ plus rhetoric and legislation. Evan Lowe, president and CEO of the LGBTQ plus Victory Institute and a former California state legislator, said the organization increasingly views candidates' safety as fundamental democratic infrastructure. Lowe previously served as the nation's youngest out LGBTQ plus mayor when he led Campbell, California, and later spent a decade in the California State Assembly representing Silicon Valley communities. Unfortunately, it's not just about simply the individual harassment, but whether or not LGBTQ plus people can safely participate in our American democracy, Lowe told The Advocate in an interview. If members of our community don't feel safe, how do we participate in American democracy? Political violence is no longer just a safety issue. It is becoming a structural barrier to representation. Candidates described altering campaign schedules, avoiding public appearances, limiting social media activity, and withholding canvassing locations out of fear that harassment could escalate into physical attacks. That's part 1 of the story. We'll have part 2 as our evening news blast between 10 p.m. and midnight on PEP Radio. The PEP Radio YouTube channel has news updates throughout the day. PEP Radio is available on the Live 365 app, the PEP Radio page at paequality.com, Roku, Alexa, and wherever you find streaming radio. Up next, we have the Meadville area weather forecast here on PEP Radio.